As we wait to see Thanksgiving's full impact on the COVID surge, the country's already facing an unrelenting rise in infections from coast to coast. The U.S. shattered more records yesterday. More than 219,000 new cases were reported. More than 2,800 American lives were lost. And warning signs are flashing all over. For instance, in Lubbock, Texas, every ICU bed in the city is now full. Meanwhile, tonight, Vice President Mike Pence is visiting CDC headquarters in Atlanta, telling reporters once the FDA approves a vaccine, it'll get rolled out to all 50 states within 48 hours. And it can't come soon enough, because in New Jersey today, more records were broken. Over 5,600 new cases in one day. The positivity rate is now above 10%, and 48 more people in the state have died. So tonight, the clock is ticking on new restrictions in the Garden State. Tomorrow, indoor sports are going to be suspended. On Monday, outdoor gatherings go to 25 people max. And News 4's Pat Battles talked to parents who are upset about the looming sports restrictions.
Even a cold driving rain couldn't stop these kids from an impromptu game of street hockey between virtual learning sessions, although they'd rather be on the ice.
The thrill, the feeling, just skating, it's awesome.
But the blacktop will have to do for the time being. As of Saturday morning, all indoor youth and adult winter sports are on ice in New Jersey, from hockey to basketball to swimming. Restrictions tightening in an effort to loosen COVID's grip on New Jersey.
Hang on together, everybody, a little bit longer, and that's because this virus is still moving throughout our state, and residents are still falling ill.
But the governor's new orders are getting a frosty reception from some parents who believe the state is just going too far.
Ventilation systems in the hockey rinks are phenomenal. They follow all the protocol. The kids wear their masks until their helmets go on. I mean, they've done everything right. So I don't see why there's a problem. And am I afraid of it? No, not even a little bit.
Michael Fish coaches both youth and high school ice hockey, and he says the stop and start season is really taking a mental toll on the kids as well.
Monday night we were on the ice and we told them that the season was going to be stopped. And, you could see the pain in their face. And as coaches and as dads, breaking it to them was probably one of the hardest things we've had to do, because they put so much work in. We're not even allowed to practice anymore. I mean, that's the most devastating part of the whole directive. Is he's not only just shutting down competition, he's shutting down practices.
The state's Interscholastic Athletic Association said today that outdoor practices can resume on the 14th of December, indoors on January 3rd, and competitions can start up on the 15th of January. The season for ice hockey's now been extended to the 6th of March.
It's kind of upsetting because our team's undefeated, so we had a good chance of going to the playoffs, winning tournaments, and then we had to get it canceled.
The coach says he can't count on the season resuming on that schedule because the dates have been pushed back before. But in the meantime, they'll just have to give it their best shot.
It's just depressing, It's like something that they look forward to, and look, they're young kids, they don't understand.
In Middletown, Pat Battle, News 4, New York.
A large gathering of young Republicans has now ignited a war of words between New Jersey's governor and a Florida congressman. The gathering was held last night at a Jersey City restaurant. Florida Republican Matt Gaetz is seen here. He's in that gray suit on the right. As you can see, people were not wearing masks. They were not socially distancing, at least in these photos. And at the daily briefing today, Governor Murphy referred to Congressman Gaetz as a putz, and he told him not to come back to New Jersey. News 4's Chris Glorioso is going to have Gaetz's response to that and the fallout for the restaurant. That's coming up on News 4 at 6. In New York now, the number of new cases reported topped 11,000 today. That is close to the peak of the first wave of the pandemic. Of course, remember, there wasn't nearly the testing that we have now. Tonight, more than 4,200 people are in the hospital as well. But New York City schools are still going to begin that phased reopening on Monday, mainly because of their low positivity rate in the classrooms. News 4's Rana Navini has more about the backlash now brewing about how these schools reopen in just 3 days, Rana.
Yeah, and Adam, there are still no plans to open middle and high schools, but the mayor wants elementary schools to open their doors 5 days a week. That's something that most of them have not done yet this year. The mayor says it's been proven that school settings are safer than the rest of the community, but it comes as community spread is on the rise.
With New York City's COVID positivity rate now holding above 5%, the mayor hinting more restrictions could be coming soon.
It's a real serious situation, And we're working with the state now to figure out additional measures we have to take.
His words come as New York City elementary schools get ready to reopen Monday for in-person learning. The mayor pushing schools to offer in-person classes 5 days a week.
This is a decision that the chancellor and I have made. It's not up for debate. We need to provide the most in-person instruction possible to our children.
But some principals say their schools can't accommodate students 5 days a week. Meantime, the first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine are set to arrive in New York City in less than 2 weeks. First going to high-risk healthcare workers and residents and staff of nursing homes, then to other essential workers and those at high risk of complications, eventually rolled out to everyone.
Doses will be made available to all New Yorkers, though this will likely not be until mid-2021, depending on supply and availability.
The city's health commissioner questioned by members of the city council today, many wondering about equity in distribution.
You should be telling us what the plans are now for NYCHA residents, for people that are just generally hard to reach, who have trouble accessing these kinds of services.
So I want to assure you that that is a part of our planning.
And the health commissioner also said there are still some things that they don't know about the vaccine, like how long protection lasts and how often people will have to be vaccinated. He says he expects it to take several weeks for the first tier of healthcare workers and nursing home residents and staff to get vaccinated. Reporting live in the newsroom, Rana Novini, News 4 New York.
All right, Rana, thank you. Connecticut's COVID positivity rate is over 7% today. Hospitalizations are still over 1,000, but here's some good news for people who've been out of work because of the pandemic. More than 38,000 people in Connecticut will receive extra unemployment payments from over the summer. This money here comes from a federal loan, but the governor says he will find a way to replenish the state's unemployment fund moving forward. And now tonight, as the COVID surge in the U.S. begins to hit new highs, hospitals are really feeling the strain. After a busy Thanksgiving travel period, frontline workers are warning that the situation could still get worse. And with the most dangerous period of the pandemic ahead, President-elect Joe Biden is unveiling his plan to try to slow the spread.
I'm going to ask the public for 100 days to mask. Just 100 days to mask. Not forever, 100 days.
Biden also says he talked to Dr. Anthony Fauci, and he is planning on keeping him on after Biden takes office to help combat the virus. And in the last hour, we did hear from the president-elect, Biden urging Congress to act quickly to pass new coronavirus stimulus or relief bill. A new jobs report saw numbers fall well below expectations. So now lawmakers are really facing increasing pressure to strike a deal before the end of the year. And for the first time in nearly a month, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi met with Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell to discuss a plan, and Pelosi says there's momentum in these talks.
We feel very excited about the prospect that there's a bipartisan bill, because I told members I'm not bringing any more bills that are not bipartisan.
And if Congress doesn't act soon, about 12 million people will lose unemployment benefits after Christmas.